Okay, don't know if this is working, but hello. If you're joining me, I am basically going to be bodging together a going to be bodging together a sound booth out of a marquee and a load of duvets and an ungodly number of clamps. I'll probably be leaving the room from time to time to go, where is that thing? Or even just to find water and that kind of thing. But yeah, that's what I'll be doing. I'm just logging into Twitter and Twitch and things like that to see if anybody is sending messages. Because yeah, turns out if you go live, you should probably be paying attention to who's watching. Okay, accepting. Right, where am I then? Oh, there we go. So I guess I'll keep an eye on these various different things to see if anyone is sending messages. But in the meantime, I guess I'll just crack on with this once I've stopped fiddling about. So to get started discovering about the new house, everything moves just a little bit slower. I guess because I'm not exactly in the sticks. Definitely not where I was. Oh, there's the video on Facebook. That. Right. Well, I guess I'll keep an eye on all those things. And if he wants to say hi, then do say hi, please. Otherwise, I'll just keep cracking on. It's the Twitter. Twitter didn't stop working for a while. There's a thing called Periscope. And then it just turned into a Twitter live feed. I'm going to go get some clamps. out. Go to quantity. Clamps. Size. Different sizes. Basically, metal. Thank you. Eggs are cheap. Very happen is already from the market. And then clamping. G goes to security. But what we're going to be doing is, I say we, this is just me. I'm going to be trying to bodge this to make it smaller. Now, I have a horrible feeling that I've chosen the wrong marquee design with which to do this, because I'm now looking at the first instructions, which tell me that I was thinking, oh, I'll just skip. I'll skip a frame, skip a piece of metal, so that it will just make a smaller round, thing around me. But looks like that's going to be tricky. So we'll see how that goes. I don't want you to get over the impression that I'm excited because I'm old. Let's much further away for clarity. I'm too big to wear my glasses, I'm too worried to wear my glasses. Well, I should get a bit of metal. So I'm trying to nonsense. No reason I should have so I guess I'll ignore that. So yeah, I've got my instructions. I need to fit things to other things. So I'm going to be trying to bodge it. So I'm not sure that's going to be feasible. If I'm going to be basically creating something that's much larger than I can comfortably fit in through. We'll do some measuring. Didn't completely make this up as I went along. Oh, I got a pointy. Yeah, we're going to ignore the pointy bit. Or like a pointy roof, if it was going to be a real marquee, which it's not going to be, so we're going to ignore that part. and just make the square bit, well, rectangular bit at the top of the frame. Put in the legs. Ignore the whole, and add this canvas bit, because instead of canvas and pegs, we are going to be putting duvets over it. Don't worry though, it's told me how to clean it. That'd be nice. You shout if you'd like to say hello. But basically, yeah, I'm in a small, slightly sweaty room with a lot of duvets in it, which can only get warmer. I'll open the window for the first and last time. Now, I was going to be putting this where you are now, because that is the wall that is the furthest away from the neighbours. However, where you are now is a radiator. And I just think putting recording equipment and me next to a radiator while tucked up in a duvet fort is a recipe for heat stroke in the winter when the radiator is on. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I could do that. Just leave the radiator off, because I did that in the last place. I'll move it around. It'll be fine. The other advantage of putting it over there is that that's where the power is. But I'm going to, yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing. It's fine. I was also going to do this with like a fancy not a webcam, a camcorder. High definition. It's going to look really good. Unfortunately, I don't like talking to my computer, so you get that version. Got a lot of bits of metal here. Very understanding neighbours, so it's going to be fine. I've warned them that there may be some swearing, clanging involved. One of the things I had to reassure them is that I wouldn't be in any distress. There goes the first clanger. Because apparently one of my predecessors in this space, quite an older person, and apparently quite late one night, it's tapping, tap, 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 space, tap, tap, space, tap, 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 tap. Now, the husband next door was convinced it was Morse code, and that she was trying to get in touch and say, help me, I've fallen down. Tap, tap, tap on the wall. So they went back and forth with this, and decided that they'd rather be certain and get this wrong, and went rushing around. Visions of her lying on the floor. Only to find out that she'd just been doing a bit late night DIY. I was in no distress whatsoever. Oh, it's got little feet. Yeah. So this is the stage of the torture called the laying out of the instruments. We get all of these bits out and look at them. I'll work out which way around they go. Any of you are feeling helpful and give me some pointers, I'll be all over that. I'll be checking on the old checking on the comments if I can. 4 feet, which is an excellent start. And some pegs and some guy rips, which we will not be needing. We'll buy pegs and guy rips. Right. So, back my distractions. Okay. You really start this later in the process because this isn't very interesting, but you can always fast forward this if you're watching later. So these complicated buggers go in the top corners, and they obviously lead to the pointy roof that I'm not making. I need to construct this. It seems to be talk of screwdriver, which could be interesting. We've come across a market where I actually need a screwdriver before. It was always a case of just running things together and seeing what works. Anyway, so we've got these which go into the handle levels, but then holes. Number one. So these number one, let's go into 3s and 2s. Unfortunately, we only have 2 3s. And this is a bit where I think I'm going to go wrong. So we'll see where it goes. So I don't know. Do I just go this way? Maybe that would be more fun. Like really big marquees for outdoor festivals. It's just really fair. One and 3s on the short side. This is the short side. Yes, very much like the roots could be a very short video. Where I end up just going one out the shape. Down the game to go though. Still going to be more probably more robust than together last time, which I used to do. Basically the width of the room. So we are going to be doing what I believe is called bodging. So goodbye to the 3s. This is really good. This house. Very simply, one gaffer tape or where that's supposed to stay in. It's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely peachy. Stage, by the way. To be fair, I did try and find like a kids' market, but they turned out to be to find, or at least impossible to find that were, you know. So yeah, I just I was incorrect in that assumption. I want to say about assumptions. Now those of you who are during these late. I'm basically putting together some bits of metal. Just make a sandwich. It's going to be about a metre square. The last one was 36 inches, second one was sensorily unpleasant. fascinating. That's cheating in, right? It's actually going to be cheating go. I just fancy the what we're also neglecting here is the sheer opportunity for the when structure such as this. So sorry, apologies to the queue. Structure. Ready. What other things I can do? Well, basically it was a wool factory. It's got to do some factory specifically apparently. You can tell the supervisor's cottages because they've got numbers to go. Really know how numbers go. That's all. Right. Now we've got these woodworks. Well, first one, legs. Instructions are always designed to be as one. 0 words or language. Like numbers, arrows, and letters. That's 10. Follow. Supposed to put it's a half like this, so that you then raise it up. So on there, you don't have to see the reach. Actually, every time you tell this together outside, then my width. Absolutely. But I'm dealing with a number of bits of metal, which are not heavy, are still metal, and I have bare feet. Scout. Okay, why are you making sounds? That's the nice thing with Twitch, right? Just turn up. See those things happening, just turn up. One of the things. This poll, very special. Why is this poll very special? Why do you put dents and scratches in the plate? Well, that's because this is, as I said before, a Victorian house. It particularly lacks blessing in the form of high ceilings when you're going upstairs, or even broad stairs or high ceilings. This is going to make it much easier to heat than the last place, which was Edwardian and a bit posh, and was a nightmare. It just basically sucked all of the heat up into the ceiling and then just went, we're not having that, which was, I think, quite rude. And yeah, but the downside with the lower ceilings, especially when it comes to the narrow staircases, is you can't get things up it. You get down the stairs of the Edwardian place. Which means that, for example, my bed won't go upstairs. Well, strictly speaking, the mattress goes upstairs because you can squeeze it, but the base for the mattress is still in my kitchen. This is what's technically known as a pain in the arse. So I'm sleeping on the floor at the moment. So not right now, so I'm bodging some mattress together. But yeah, that's entertaining. Yeah, this is the size that I wanted to be, but of course, as we've previously mentioned, the 4 out of the 8 joins are not very secure because they are not meant to go like this. I'm basically going to try and fill it, and if you can't fill it, then I'm going to use tape and or clamps. Using clamps is anything wrong. Clamps, in fact. Right, so that's, I'd like to say secure, but I'd be lying because these bits here are wobbly. You see, when I move it around, they fall out. It's the opposite of what I want. So, it's tape time. Which means I need to find the tape. Which I don't know if any of you have moved house at all, but the nice thing about moving house is that you can't find shit. You thought you put it in the most sensible box, but the trouble is that most of the boxes very much look the same. So that could be a bit of an arse. So I'm hoping something in this bag of joy. Let's see what I have in this bag is clamps. For some reason, that is. Oh yeah, this is an outdoor bag, isn't it? Yeah. Ooh. Ooh. I have Alex tape. Look at that. I'm going to use the Alex tape.
and get more attention as wow, there's some deeply random shit in here. Feeding headlamp. So I'm not going to need right now. But I am going to need in future. What else? You're probably not going to see. Oh. Why do I have two headlamps? All I need. I'm very prepared for blackouts, but not terribly useful right at this moment. Okay, cool. You go over there. Let's see what we can do with the Alex tape. And I'm just going to have a quick look to see if any of you are commenting at all, in case you might think I'm ignoring you. Nope. I'm not ignoring anyone. Oh no. Hello. Hello, Ian. Oh, am I quiet? I'm sorry about that. Oh, wobble. I landed on it. That was a mistake. Note to self, not yet something you can, not yet something that I can lean on. That's going to be exciting. All right. Hey, and I got a message from Hannah. Hey, Hannah. And nothing there. Groovy. Okay. Go back. This is my first time putting anything out on Twitch, by the way, so that's it's new for me. Well, it's not. It's the first time putting anything out on Twitch while I'm looking at Twitch at the same time. I've live streamed things like the poetry event, the poetry slam that I do, which is called Hammer and Tongue. I went in Cambridge specifically because we are a cross UK franchise brand. I don't know. I should probably ask my poetry boss what we're calling ourselves. Yeah, that's it. So it would have been sensible to bring scissors into this equation, but because I hadn't realised I was going to be doing taping, what I've got is a multi-tool, which is a good start anyway. So what I'm going to do is basically tape transverse. Sounds like I know what I'm talking about. Lengthways along the join. There, I'm going to wrap more tape around the join. When it comes to disassembling this will be interesting. Like I said, the previous one that I did back in the old house was much more of a bodge. It's basically two lighting rigs and a speaker stand and a bunch of duvets and a godly quantity of these clamps. And this is why we're taping it. It doesn't want to stay up because I have bodged it. Let's move this to the new wall. We have a nice solid Victorian structure behind us. It's going really well. I know exactly what I'm doing. So yeah, lighting rigs and then a wee quantity of clamps. Worked though, it did work, but not ideal. Dun, dun, dun. So I think it's progressing okay. It's going fine. I also told the neighbours, like I said, that I would be doing this, just in case it's noisy. I'm still trying to work out exactly how much sound travels. I know that when people are opening and shutting doors, especially in the morning and stuff, because there's a lot to throw for people to work, that sound travels through. So I'm a little bit concerned about that, because that's the thing. No number of debates can guard against, as it were. But it's all. I mean, doing anything like this from home is always going to be a bit of an adventure, unless you're in a detached mansion or something. I don't know. Cottage out in the countryside is nevertheless excellent, very reliable high-speed broadband on a grocery delivery route, but very low traffic. We have to be realistic. And, until or unless abruptly come into a vast amount of money. We're going to be basically looking at, there's always going to be a series of compromises. Someone does buzz at me. Oh no, I think that's just Fitbit telling me I should go to bed. Good luck with that, Fitbit. Tomorrow is my non-office job day. So that's going to be the day that I am going to go back to the Cambridge house and do a bunch of like the last bits, basically. It's the wrong length of Alex tape. Amateur error. Nothing about this book is professional, like literally nothing. It's all just wow. So much bodging. So much bodging, I can't even believe it. Yes, I've got multi-tool pliers. Well noticed, Lizzie. I adore these. This is for years I've had like the generic camping shop slash random, Wilco's kind of shop thing versions of these, but they always fall apart and they never keep an edge. And the screwdrivers are suspect. So one of the things I got for myself when changed quite dramatically about 2 years ago is I bought myself a proper Leatherman. It's not an advert for Leatherman, by the way. It's just this is what this happens to be, and it is beautiful multi-tool. Ridiculously sharp knife, partly because I had the sharp knife to get notches out of it after it had a bit of an adventure. As being part of how people disassemble the geodome. Again, long story. But look at the tools. It has many screwdrivers there, and it has shit you not, obviously, can opener, nail file which doubles as a ruler, and the obligatory tool to get the stones out of horses' hooves. I have not used it for these purposes. I've used it for removing staples from things, but and mostly laughing at it. But the screwdriver I've used quite a lot, both of them. They're really good. And the pliers have been used mostly by people other than me, actually. The wire cutters I've had to go with. I think, yeah, there's a wire stripper in there as well. As whatever this part is I can never remember, is that like a, maybe it's a nutcracker, I don't know. It's supposed to be a survival tool, after all. Mostly what it's doing is, at the moment, cut tape. Right, let's see. That is approximately stable. So that's working. And I'm looking at myself in profile and thinking, hello, perimenopause. I mean, yeah. That's what happens when you spend nearly 2 years barely moving. So, yeah. Should probably do something about that at some point, but at the moment I'm building a sandwich. I guess I'll just get fit and muscly later. Right, so we were talking about putting the duvets on first rather than reaching up to them. And that would imply that I knew what I was doing with these duvets, which I'm not entirely convinced I do, because again, this structure is just a little bit larger than the utter bodge that it was before. Victory, yes. So yeah, well, I think what happens is I'm basically going to take the thing that was draped over the top last time. What I should really do is remove the bits of metal that I don't need. Just take them out of the room, otherwise I'm going to get confused. Also, they're just going to make an ungodly noise when I drop them. So, they're the boring bit first. That's a really good tripping hazard for myself. I'm very excited for it. Apologies to B&Q for the vast amount of metal I am not using. If anyone would like 2/3 of the marquee, I've got the bits if you want. Oh. Okay, so let's see. Last time we put some of these puppies over the top. Just warm. So I might not drape the things. Oh no, that's the thing. It was the curtain. In the last place, I had it was a semi-detached house, so I was able to get, luckily for me, the smallest room, which is the most ideal for this kind of thing, was on the outside corner of the house, so it wasn't attached to anyone else. So no matter how many doors it slammed, probably wasn't going to travel through to the studio box room with booth. However, the window seal wasn't. The window seal was dead, so I had to basically stuff the window with 2 duvets, 3 pillows, and 2 blankets, all of which are now in bags over here, and then hung this ancient yellowing duvet that I don't even remember. I don't know why I've got so many duvets. Like, 2 of them I bought for this very purpose. Where are the rest of these from? Yeah, exciting. Also, we've got that stale fabric smell, which is nice. But I think what I need to do is cover this Just one layer of duvet. And then, no, change my mind. Right, I'm going to hang the side bits on first, and then we're going to drip the other thing over the top. Because I can imagine the other way around going quite wrong, quite quickly. And me having to unclamp things and then do some cursing. So, oh. So the thing about creating sound booth is that you're not doing this in order to make sure there's no, not so much doing this to make sure that there's no sound that can get in. Sound's going to get in. While reducing as much sound as you can by this method, for sure, but that's not the main purpose of these. The main purpose of these is, in fact, to ensure that you don't get a nasty amount of resonance. Because you can probably hear a bit of it. As I speak, my voice bounces off the walls and the ceiling and any of these hard, reflective surfaces, which is the opposite of what we want. Sorry, I'm just finding my clamps. And what the duvets do is they provide like a baffling. They provide like something that is not reflective, that is very much is going to deaden the sound. So as the sound hits this very absorbent surface, it'll just vanish into it. So you don't get that echo and that bounce. So we're hoping that all works out for us. And one of the things I'll be doing later or possibly tomorrow is testing it. So we putting all the sound equipment inside and testing the efficacy of my many duvets. Now, I might have to get more duvets. This is entirely possible. I do have some spares, but they're back in Cambridge. Yeah. Again, and I'm sure you'll be astonished to hear this. I did not think I'd do this all the way through, because I've now tangled duvets with each other, and it's all getting a bit. I think that hasn't been 7 hours. It's a good morning. They're lovely, by the way. I haven't had like real neighbours in an awful long time. And by that, I mean people who, well, look out for you, you know? Literally, they look out the window, they want to see you, they want to know how you're doing. Lived in a variety of places that wasn't really the cultural norm. Kind of sad. I grew up in South Wales, Scotland, Ireland, that's East Australia, which is and it's going to be wrapped up. I can't do much about that. I've already said. So there is going to be a lot of pitching. That's this light one, top side, just pull it. So this is taller. So it's assuming it's going to be taller. Yeah, so neighbours. if you're watching this. During the pandemic, you spend a lot of your time starting to put myself masked because, you know, I wanted to die and or kill people. Compromising systems so that it's quite important to me to stay as infection as possible. But also, for me, it's important to make sure that people around me stay infectious quite much. And this coincided with starting to grow a beard. Now, I don't know if you're always watching. Hi. If you don't know, the beard is not as a result of me. It's not a fake beard. I have had people asking if that's a fake beard. It's my beard. But it's an aspect of genetics, which is fun. But it started growing out, and of course I just go out in public and have tea because I'm wearing a mask. Of course that's happening less and less, especially when I'm driving, and I'm not driving with me, I'm not wearing a mask. So Debbie's first sight of me was I love is like the second question she asked. So she comes bustling out. Just spent about minutes trying to put into the world's tiniest space. Very little scope for error. She comes beetling over to ask. It's just what's your mind? She said, yes. So she asked me around. And she started calling for her husband, Gary, come and go and meet your neighbour. I'm sorry, I don't mean to, I don't want to offend them. She can't watch her and she asked. And I'm like, the best thing you can do is ask. If you're ever unsure, unless someone's really insecure themselves, I guess, it's a bit of a say, but in general, I think that's being asked, especially if they're appearance. There are people asked to assume. That's definitely right. Now, I now have an interesting dilemma because I have the legs and I have the frame, but now I'm going to raise the frame to put the legs on as prescribed by the instructions. But this is a lot heavier than if it has the top on it because it's got pretty fingers on it. This bit could get humorous. My humorous, I am not precluding the notion of me falling. Anyway, let's find out what happens. Right. Normally, if I was raising a gazebo at a festival or something like that, I'd have other people lifting at the same time. Because I don't have that luxury, I'm going to be bodge right there in the description of this video. I bodges together a sound. Okay. Oh, this bit has all the tension. Seriously. If you want focus interaction, it's the most stable way of doing this. Nose. Anyway, there we go. That's a relief, really, isn't it? Someone thinks that the most important thing is to check, is to get it right. Look at this, gentlefolk. Now I'm going to get the other leg. Now, luckily for me, I'm barefoot. And I'm one of those annoying people who picks things up with their toes. It's cold. Got a cold leg. Anyway, so that's kind of what I wanted to make sure that people know. So if you're ever unsure, check. And there are polite ways to ask and impolite ways to ask. But it's always just way more polite to ask. Think of it this way. You wouldn't want to guess what someone's name is, would you? You wouldn't want to go, well, you look like a Stephen. I'm just going to call you Stephen until someone corrects me. Much better to ask what someone's name is. And it's the same for pronouns. Yeah, that went well. Told you we were going to clash with the lampshade. Very nice lampshade, actually. Raffia or something. Yeah. A friend whose mother uses the phrase, it's not polite if it's not right. So, yeah, you're through the lampshade. Wow, this is a lot taller. It's like a lot taller than the previous one, which is simultaneously great, but also potentially problematic, because now I have a lot more surface to cover, and a lot more reaching up to do, but we are a lot closer to getting this right, and I can probably fill in the gaps at the feet with what I'm after. What's the word I'm after, kids? I think the word I'm after is pillows. But I'm going to probably, one of the things I need to do is to see this wall. I need to either, well, I was going to say I need to not face into the wall right before me, or I need to ensure that the wall is cushioned. And the answer is probably both. You want to make sure that all of these reflective surfaces have like something fuzzy between them. Not just fuzzy, but kind of lumpy. Does that make sense? You need to be baffling the sound. You need to be not letting it just bounce off nice and sharp. These are the weird things that you learn along the way of having a home studio. Home studio. What to do they for? If they do they for with a marquee attached. It's yeah. And now I seem to have made the interesting decision to use the largest clamp to put this bit up at the top, which is quite difficult to do one-handed. But yeah, it's going to be fine. It's all going to be fine. Hey. So yeah, we have our basic structure. We have, you can see this, essentially have, with Wendy House going on, if Wendy House was 2 meters tall and 1 meter and contained plain duvets with no cover. This is going great. I'm very proud of myself. Okay. Now this will hold together at the front. So I'm very pleased. I measured that bit by eye, and I'm really pleased that's going to happen. So what I'll do with that is I'll have another clamp for when I'm inside, and that will hold it together there, so that we don't have the sound potentially, or anything. Well, sound will come in. It's bound to come in, but as little as possible. Maybe some windows are going to be shut across the house, because the back is actually quite quiet. I'm at the back of the house here. Front, this is the thing about being in a friendly neighbourhood during summertime. People are out in the streets, they're talking to each other, they're chatting away, kids are playing. There's not much, there's not really any through traffic, apart from people who've got a bit lost. Because where I am is a dead end. Well, it's dead end if you're in a car.
So we're not having the thing I had in the last place, which is lots of people using my otherwise quite quiet road there as a cut through for deliberately detuned motorbikes and cars, literal bangers, as they used to call cars bangers, and now I know why, because it was the ones that backfiring. So we had a lot of backfiring cars, which was unpleasant, and people roaring up that street at like midnight, 1 o'clock, maybe even 11, and that was waking people's children, preventing people from going to sleep. It was really unpleasant, and through the day, but it was mostly in the evening they used to like to cut through. And I suspect a lot of them were delivery drivers, and everyone's got to make a living and everything, but also tune your damned motorbike, because one thing is you're going to be spending more on fuel. Anyway, also people are much more likely to launch trebuchets at you. It's not a good time. Right. This is the bit that's going to go probably the most wrong. This is the bit where I try and get this dude over the top. You know what? I'm going to think about it first. Use my brain. I think what I need to do is go from the inside. So you're not going to see this bit. You're just going to hear it, hopefully. Well, maybe not even hear it very much because of the muffling. So apologies if this bit is a bit of a mystery. Whoa. Anyway, I'm inside the duvet foot. Trying to work out the best way to fling this over the top. Now, whoa. Oh, this is going well so far. Well done, me. Oh, there's literally no good way to do this. This is all only going to go wrong. Fucking hell. Okay. This is where we find out how stable this isn't. That's the problem. Yeah. How did he die? He was buried in an avalanche of duvet and couldn't fight his way out. Right. Ah, God damn it. I have half of this hooked over. The other half is feeling more reluctant right now. Oh, so good. A very broad definition of good. This is good. These are looking really wobbly. So I think I'm going to need to do something to make this more stable because I can imagine recording is going to be the opposite of what I want. So not be using those dry ropes after me. Please, come on. There we go. Whee! Oh, yeah. Tinker. Down, down. Oh.
Okay. You haven't even Tower of Pisa scenario here though. That's good. Okay. Now one of the problems now, there's more weight on this side than there is on the other side. So it's leaning this way. But that's all right. So I'm about to put a duvet at that side to muffle between me and the wall. I'm just going to do a quick check to see if any of you are actually. Yeah, many duvets. Okay. Hey, biggest booth, less overheating. You'd think that, however, it is already excessively warm. Like, wow, is it warm? But yeah, okay. I don't know how to tell who's watching because I just don't understand Twitch. So oh look, it's got my pronouns in because it came through from Zoom. How's that? That's fun. See if anyone else is saying anything to me. I'd like you to wander away with the idea that it's dusty as hell in here. Oh, hello, Andrew Smith Thomas and Andy and Mr. Osborne, Ozzy Osborne there. Yeah, we're not going to build an apex. We're skipping. We're skipping the apex because that was always going to be a nightmare. So yeah, over on Facebook, people are commenting site creep for life. There, this is nice. I've missed all of these comments, but I'm saying hello anyway. Where else is this going? Getting some thumbs up. That's very sweet. You're all very lovely. And YouTube, no comments on YouTube. There's no fuckers paying attention on YouTube. All right, cool. Class. Wow, so apparently that's just taken me over an hour. But luckily I was talking to you guys and I didn't notice. Thank you for the company. So I'm gonna get this duvet on the opposite side to try and weight this down a bit. But it's also good to hear that it was very quiet while I was inside, which means the sound isn't traveling, which is good news, I think. Slightly cleaner duvet. I think made the roof last time. Okay. Yes. Okay. This is definitely going to need clamps, this bit. More clamps. And should probably get something to stand on, except that I've used the thing to stand on to put you higher up. So I don't know what to do there, so we'll just make it up. All right, all right. Whoa! That's not good. Oh. That's the job. It's literally your only job is to count things. Right. Said this was a bodge. That's leaning a lot. We have a new problem. The problem is one of stability, which we do not have. I'm not sure what the solution is. Any of you out there are engineers who would like to assist me with how it's decided back up, right? Now the all ears. Oh no. Right. Let's see. This is the bodgiest thing in the world. So it turns out if you try and have the legs like proper 90 degrees to the ground, it don't want to do it because it is it's a fragile thing. It's supposed to have a very lightweight canvas over it, tarpaulin over it. So at the moment, I am solving this problem by basically making the feet splay out, which is hilarious. It does mean that closing the door is going to be problematic, so I'm going to have to, I think I'm going to have to shift this all a little bit that way. It's all part of the experiment, isn't it? And so far I haven't dislocated my shoulders, which I was a little bit worried about. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. If you don't know what that is, it means that all my collagen is a bit too stretchy. That whole kind of reaching up thing and doing something heavy is absolutely fantastic recipe for subluxation, which is where the thing partially slips out of its socket, which is very this is annoyingly common. And I've only just got over the last time that happened, and I don't even know why it happened. Oh, yeah. So what we've got here is almost right. It's going to need some shifting within the room and possibly some weighting down. I can't believe that indoors with no wind, I'm probably going to need, you know, marquee feet, those things that you put around the bottoms of marquee to keep them weighted down in a strong wind. I am actually, in fact, going to have to do that in a tiny room in Terrace Sound. So, yeah, but we have a structure now. What I've got to do next, not now, I think, maybe tomorrow, is to get the recording equipment set up, put together the microphone and the stand and the preamp and all the rest of it, and have that all in place, connected to this fella. And that's why I can't do it at the same time as talking to you, is that Zoom is a bit jealous about sound. So if you're trying to have the sound going through anything else like Audacity, it will say, oh no, I can't do that. It steals all the sound for itself. But yeah, but I could show you setting up the microphone if you would like to see that. Move that around to here because by God, it's warm in there. Hello. So I actually know how to do. This is a Hercules mic stand. One of my very favourite pieces of audio big kit that I've got, because it is ridiculously easy to put together and to use, because it has this trigger mechanism. So you can just pull the thing up and down. I told you there was going to be double entendre. Told you. squeezing them. The lovely thing about this is that it's not just a straight up mic, it can be a boom mic like that here. I don't want it to be a boom mic because I'm going to be recording, so I'm going to be standing close to it like that with it being straight. We don't need this. This mic clip was for use at Strawberry Fair. And this mic stand has been very, very thoroughly wiped down with clinical grade wipes between pretty much every performer. Because there were a lot of performers, and you know what? I wasn't gonna have anyone getting COVID on my watch. What do we do next? This microphone. This is a Rode microphone. This isn't the Rode mic. This is a cheap microphone that I got for my desk mic. So cheap. It wasn't very cheap, but it was, yeah. As you said, go. That goes back in its bag, and we're going to ignore that. We thought we were talking about. La la la. This is a Rode. Probably still pretty much an industry standard. I'm not gold spot. It's a directional microphone. So we have a gold spot facing towards you while you speak. And means it's another means of cutting out the external sound. Now you have this fella, which is another means of making sure we're getting as little clattering, clanging, and resonance as possible, which is this kind of suspension cradle here, which has elastic there. See that? And really kind of crown of elastic, and the microphone sits in this part. Now the pop shield, which theoretically stops you getting that plosive thing, which is very difficult to cut out. Now we connect this bit to this bit. What I've just noticed is that when this came off, it left behind its little screw thing inside. So I'm going to have to back it out, probably get the leveling out again. I'm going to have to get the leveling out again, because this could be. Maybe this section might be cut short, but it just might not work. Exciting for me. So let's cut this bit short. I don't think it's going to work. Yeah, I like it. Oh, you can't actually flip though. It's me. I find microphone tips like this, by the way, is the simpler the better. You get these really elaborate ones. Stuff on the exciting things with the microphone industry. Simple is often better. And this is a nice simple one, which is really good for gigs, especially if people feeling a bit nervous about the microphone. It's just a simple kind of holder, and it just grips it nice and tightly. Actually, quite simple. I think I got from that pens. From that pen. And yeah, so what we do first is we put the cradle on and then put the microphone inside it. And then what we do is we try and work out where in fuck's name the mic cable is. That's going to be that's going to cut everything very short if I get down that cable. I have a horrible feeling that's the storage and I'm going to go fetch it. Probably wasn't really the testing tonight, but now here's the thing. When I first used to put storage to wind this round, actually all you need to do is loosen this part here. That's literally lateral thinking. There you go. Then there's the road. Again, they've thought about this because you might think, oh, I'll screw this in, but it might not get the gold spot in the right place, but they've got you covered. And look, the gold spot is facing the way, but there's a lovely thing underneath. It around, so you have a gold spot facing you, and then you tighten underneath. Perfect, isn't it? I don't know how well they've thought about this. Like, what would people need it to do? I'm not going to just hype now because I'm barefoot. And when I perform, when I'm doing audio recording, I will be wearing shoes with insoles to kind of support my ankles and my knees. Because standing up for a long time is pretty much my nemesis. Yeah, if I just sit to my height now, I'll just have to adjust it again later. Now let's get inside. Watch the roof fall over. No falling over. All went well. Right. That's really it. One other thing I'll need was, so I've got the mic cable. There that is. It's a nice mic cable as well. What I'm using here is a thing called now a lot of things like that desk microphone, but here that has a mount as a desk and Zoom. That's what I use for that. It just basically, a lot of you will have mounts like this. It basically goes straight into the computer via USB. But for something like this, where the preamp gives you just a little bit more control over getting sound from a high end mic like that via a proper mic cable, XLR. And then this is the bit that goes into the computer. You can control the gain, you can control monitor and out and that kind of stuff. And gives you all sorts of fun things which I'm barely using. I'm literally just using this to plug into my computer. Audacity. So put some floor over here. I'm just not to tread on it, or drop the rifle on it. I think I'm pretty much done. I'm going to tidy up a bit in a minute. Might move this a little bit closer to the window so I can actually close the door, because that's really useful for, again, getting as much sound as possible. One of the things I'll be doing when I am recording is I'll be closing every single window in the house, just to prevent as much sound coming as possible. One of the things I'm going to find out is whether I'm going to have to more muffling between me and the window. These are very good seals though. These are much more up to date. Oddly enough, older house, but more up to date windows than you. So the seal is a lot better. The double glazing is blessedly hunched and does its job. And so, you know, I'll be hearing all sorts of things with the windows open. I think, oh, as soon as I shut it, just cuts down to, which is great, which is what I want. Because right there is a main road. It's got a fast main one, so it's pretty effective. You do get occasionally emptying both back window. Yeah, so every single window will have to be closed, and the door, and as many doors between in the outside are going to be closed, including obviously this one, which means this will abruptly This will become very warm very fast. There is downside to recording at any time of the year. Winter, you get a lot more weather sounds. You get heating sounds. I've not been here long enough to know, and I've not been here in cold weather yet, so I don't know how loud the heating is. I suspect the radiator will be permanently off in this room. So in the last place, the heating came from a tank that was pretty much the same age as a house. It was a big copper thing, and it roared and boomed and hissed. And so you basically had to decide, would you like a fairly consistent roaring, booming, hissing sound to cut out later? Or do you want to switch it off? That's roaring, booming, hissing. But you do get the tink, tink, tink of the cooling pipes. So you can tell you which are much harder to cut out. So it's like, which do you do? And the place before that, even though he's not in that room, it was a room where, for whatever reason, and again, it was a corner, it was the outside corner. So open inside the house, all of the pipes ran through it for some reason. So if anyone ran a tap, you could hear that on the recording, and it was. But yeah, so I don't know. It was fun. New space, new place. Finding out what the issues are going to be with it. But, I've constructed my booth. I'm feeling confident and happy about it. So yeah, when I find my mic cable, I'll be testing the sounds and keep your fingers crossed for me, please. Thank you for joining me. I'll go catch up with any other clever comments, but I'll be shutting off the stream now. Just see where everyone is. Ooh, I've got some interesting suggestions from people, which is nice. I'm going to have a look at those. Yeah, bracing the legs to each other. Those of you not seeing Twitter, maybe securing with X parts on the sides, which I think means, doing that so that these brace together better. I don't know how I'm going to do that. We might be looking at rope or something, or maybe using the spare metal that I've given up on, making that into X parts and using more tape. Thank you for that, Ian. Right, so thank you everyone. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to sign off now. Hopefully stop disturbing the neighbours. Hopefully they're finding my muffled tones soothing. But yeah, thank you all, and thanks for keeping me. See you very soon. Oh, and let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to do a stream on. So, yeah, anything about recording or editing, sound or poetry or something like that. Just let me know if there's something that you'd like to see me do a stream about in the future. I can't promise it will be more. Well, I can't promise it'll be less rambly. But yeah, it'd be nice to talk to people. See you soon. She says, being able to